Hey, what's going on, GameLeapers? Welcome back, mate, to another fast food video. Actually, this one is maybe less fast food than the others because we're actually looking at like real Elo here. So this is Masters Plus in Korea, and these are the top 10 champions. These are the 10 S plus tier champions that are absolutely destroying solo queue at the moment, and we're going to get into the runes, the builds, the summoner spells, the skill orders, everything, mate. We're going to give you all the pages you need to win 2 more games in your next 500. Yeah, that's all this video is going to do. If you do actually want to improve and learn how the game works and get good at the game and learn it at a challenger level, GameLeap.com, description, comment section. Sign up to get exclusive access to our library of content, which is added to daily by challenger players and coaches from around the world. Yeah, just get signed up. That's all you have to do, mate, to actually improve. It's that easy. Join thousands of your fellow summoners. Let's get into the 10 champions broken at the moment in Korean high elo. Number 10, Elise. Elise got nerfed a few patches ago. For sure she did. Not just in terms of herself, in terms of the Q's damage, right, and in terms of your W, but also because towers are doing more damage in the early game. But is this really affecting Elise? Like, what do you guys think? I don't think so, right? Because your repel means you take 0 tower damage. It doesn't matter if it actually just like one-shots you or does a little bit more damage. That's kind of irrelevant. This actually affected other diving junglers early game, maybe something like a Rek'Sai, right? Or something maybe like a Gragas, Maokai, these kind of like quick lockdown champions. That's actually affected them more than anything. Now the jungle changes where they kind of like reverted the damage to enemy camps. That means that yes, you can punish an Elise who's just perma-ganking, but the issue here, and the thing they actually do need to nerf, is comeback experience, right? Like if you're playing against an Elise who's level 3, right, and you're level 5 because you've counter jungled her and just taken her whole, like, I don't know, top side and she's perma-ganking your bot, it doesn't actually matter because all she has to do is just take like 2 camps and she'll be level 4, close to level 5 again because of how the comeback experience works. That's why counter jungling is still, well, it's definitely the way to play jungle, don't get me wrong. And at that point, like being level 5 against a level 3, close to level 4 champion, you should definitely be able to like do something and have counter play. But yeah, that's just the issue. And you can see that Elise still in high elo is banned in over 36% of matches. I'm pretty sure Riot are either going to nerf Elise, and they probably will because they don't understand how their game works, but what they really need to nerf is just the comeback experience in the jungle. This champion won't be as good as she is and as OP, even in pro play, right, in 13.5. I know we're on 13.6, but it's the same as last patch, right? She's getting picked and banned pretty much in every game still. So there's just like fundamentally something wrong with either Elise or just how early ganking junglers work, and that's it. Just because comeback experience is so OP, you can afford to give up so much in the early game just to get it back very quickly afterwards. Now, coming in at number 9, this is Zoe with the highest win rate on this countdown, guys. Look at this for me, a 57% win rate. And this is in 410 matches so far in Korean high elo. Banned in over 9% of games as well. Compare this to like other regions and elos, nowhere near as good as these stats, right? Now, why is Zoe so good? Well, if we think about it, Zoe in the mid lane, right? Because of all the recent buffs as well, especially to your E, so your Sleepy Trouble Bubble, you land your E onto someone, they get put to sleep, their magic resist goes down, right? So you can just shred them. This means that your one-shot potential is actually a lot higher than what it was before, and because you're such a good laner anyway, like probably the best priority mid lane champion, like you'll always have priority in the first 3 levels, which is really nice, especially if you're playing with like an aggressive early game jungler. I'm also surprised we don't see Zoe picked more in pro play as well, because I think she is so good, and in solo queue, her playstyle is really OP as well, because as soon as someone makes a mistake and you land your trouble bubble, right, you can just blow them up with your teammates. So Zoe, number 9, consider playing her in the mid lane in 13.6. Now the support coming in at number 8 is Pike, and for Pike at the moment, you can see that he's banned in over 22% of matches, and to have close to a 52% win rate in the hardest region in the world in close to 500 matches, it goes to show how good this champion is in the right hands. And maybe that's the key there, guys, in the right hands. If you can play this champion well, he's very, very devastating in solo queue because you're like the biggest carry jungler in the game, right? That's why you want to be rushing something like mobility boost, and then you can take like Umbral Glaive, Dustblade, because when you go in with your ultimate, right, the invisibility allows you to reposition and then go in for more. Death from Belows also does very well into a lot of supports. Just be careful about picking him into strong melee supports. Now moving into the jungle, kind of interesting here, I haven't mentioned this champion for ages, but Karthus is number 7 on the countdown. And why is Karthus suddenly like just OP and S plus tier in Korea, where you might think, you know, he's going to get counter jungled and pressured a lot? Well, here's the thing. If we think about the meta at the moment, right, especially in Korean high elo, lots of champions are close range jumping onto you, right, especially in the bot lane supports and stuff, right? If we think about the jungle as well, let's think. Who's probably the best jungler at the moment? Elise. and there are lots of junglers who are melee champions like Vi, Wukong. As Karthus, you just run into them and you do a lot of damage to them. You want these champions to be diving into you from across the map, and that's what the meta kind of is right now. So Karthus, if you can survive and get to level 4, you know, just full clear your camps and get to a position where you can actually farm safely, you're not like 0-3 at that point, you should be sweet. Just make sure, guys, if you are going to play Karthus, towards your second buff, and be very careful of getting invaded throughout a game, because you are very weak to getting 1v1 by those strong early game champions. So Karthus is number 7. The meta is really dictating this. And moving to the top lane here, a champion I don't actually know too much about, so if there are any Rengar top players watching this video, I want you to tell me in the comments why this champion is so good. The reason I'm guessing he's so good is because, well, there aren't many like top lane champions who necessarily like counter you, or maybe there are, I'm not sure. So something like a Lowy might be impossible because you can never jump into her because you just ease. Something like a Poppy is difficult. Pantheon, you can never really jump near him, or at least onto him, right? Because yeah, he just W's and it's GG. But Rengar in the top lane, the stats here say that he's doing very well. And this is actually kind of similar to a lot of elos too. Yes, in Korean high elo, over a 55% win rate. That is kind of insane. And you can see that with Divine Sunder and Fleet Footwork, the kite, the sustain you have in lane, very difficult to kill, but you will also deal decent damage as well. I also think Rengar top, because of your ultimate, when you base around level 6, you can run out of base and just run anywhere on the map and probably get a free kill. So Rengar top lane, if anyone knows all the tech on this, let us know down below. Now, number 5, starting off the top 5, we have a champion who, well, is just a lot more popular than Rengar and has been recently. This is Jax. Nothing is changing here, guys, in 13.6, and that's why he's on this countdown for another, well, yeah, week, patch, whatever you want to call it. And for Jax, S+ tier champion, look at the ban rate for me, over 21%. You probably noticed by now lots of these champions are banned a heck of a lot. Guess why? Because they're just giga broken. I mean, maybe not all of them, but yeah, they are broken. There is no way this champion, Jax, even though he kind of got nerfed early game, your late game is still insane, and with Divine Sunder, grass you can still go into like a lot of matchups, right, where you're going to be short trading instead of extended fighting. I just think this champion is a must-have if you're a top laner right now because he's so meta, so Jax is number 5. Now, staying in the top lane, number 4 on the countdown, maybe a champion who's a little bit better than Jax. Honestly, I don't know if she's a little bit better. Let me put it this way. I think she's more annoying to play against, this being Fiora. So close to a 20% ban rate and to have over a 51% win rate, and that's with the nerfs this season. So to your actual like passive damage, right, and to your Q's damage. But the thing is, Fiora, once you do get to the mid to late game, even though they did nerf this, you still deal enough damage. You are still unkillable. You are still the best 1v1 top laner, split pusher. It is just unreal to go against. And yes, with Grass the Undying, Mana Flow Ban, and Scorch, it's the same rune page that we've all been running for so long now, and you can see here some of the spell wires, Flash and TP has the best win rate, but you can take Ghost and TP into kitey matchups, so if you're against a Gnar, if you're against a Vayne, something like this, Ghost is going to be better. But yeah, Fiora is number 4, guys. Unreal champ. Now, moving to number 3. I talked about this champion, right? I can't remember when it was, maybe like a week ago, and some dude in the comments legit like called me out for saying Zarya was OP. Like, I don't know if you have been watching like pro play or high elo games. This champion is nuts. These players who are playing these champions, yeah, are getting the max juice out of them. Think of these champions as like an orange, right? All of that juice in that orange is getting squeezed out of these champions. If you play Zarya in gold elo, right, maybe half of that orange is getting squeezed. You're leaving so much of it. If you play Rammus in gold, you're getting 90% of the juice out of that orange, bro. If you're playing against a Rammus in challenger, they'll get 100%, but it's only like a 10% extra, right? Compared to that gold Rammus, Zarya, there's a massive difference. Play against this champion in high elo, you will understand how annoying she is. There's so much space for Zarya now. Champions diving onto you. You're so good at kiting, right? Also recommend here, guys, taking Ghost as well as Flash in the right matchups. If you need cleanse, you need cleanse. If you're into like an Ashe, maybe, I don't know, like a Morgana lane, something like this, right? You might have to stay cleansed. But yeah, Zarya is here, and that's even with Bloodline getting nerfed. This is even with BT getting nerfed, because your build, and I talked about this in like that video a week ago, shield bow into Runar's Hurricane. Why Runar's and not Devori's Quick Blades? That's because so many champions are close range, and players are going to be playing close range, so you want Runar's Hurricane, just do this, you will know the power. And yeah, Zarya's number 3. Now, staying in the bot lane, the best support, we talked about Pike. Number 2 on the countdown, guys, is Blitzcrank. Look at the ban rate for me. 47%. This is not silver. This is not bronze. This is Korean high elo. 47%. That is when you know this champion is the nuts. You have to have him in your champion pool, guys. He counters so many champions in the bot lane. Thresh, for example, is very popular. Lots of enchantresses he dominates, because if you land one rocket grab, bang. Last season, towards the end of it, when his Q damage got buffed in the early game, it's now 100 at level 1, right? And when his ultimate got buffed as well, so the base damage, well, the ultimate buff hasn't actually changed. You're still maintaining all of that power So yeah, Blitzcrank has got to be on this countdown. 52.8% win rate and close to 1,000 matches. That is nutty. Now, the number one champion, guys, I was actually surprised by this. And I want you to kind of guess who this is going to be in Korean high elo. This is like not your typical number one champion. So Darius, it's not. I'll just say some champions who it isn't. Darius is not. Veigar, it's not. I'm trying to think of some other champions. Katarina, Zed, Yasuo, it's none of them. It's not Zarya. Okay, so this champion is in the mid lane. Now, she has a ban rate, I've just said she as well, so think about it. She has a ban rate of 44%. Now, she's picked in 9% of games, and with that, okay, so this isn't just under 500 matches, she has a 54.43% win rate. Now, it's not as good as Zoe's, right? But the fact that this champion is banned this much puts her at number one, and I was super surprised, and it's a champion that got buffed recently. This is LeBlanc. And for LB, because your Q is now like refunding some of the mana, right, and dealing more damage to minions, this is super nice for your wave clear. You can actually manage minion waves now. Now, just look at this rune page for me here. Yes, it's recommending to take this, 73% win rate in 15 matches, but I'll just say here, guys, you can take minion dematerialize into those hard kind of like early pressure lanes. So if you're into a ranged champion, a control mage, maybe something like an Ari, right, an Orianna, a Syndra, something like this, a Zoe especially, minion dematerializer is definitely going to be the way to go because you can control waves and actually contest the push against them, right? And by running mana flow band, you don't actually need biscuits for the mana. You should have enough through mana flow, but yeah, controlling that mana in those matchups is key. But yeah, that's all I'll say on LB, guys. Because of the recent buffs, yes, that's why she's here. Pretty simple build as well, right? Just magic penetration with Sork Shoes, Luden's Tempest, Shadow Flame. She's number one. It won't be the same in other elos for sure, but if you can play her well, and again, we can teach you how to do just that on our website, so get signed up. But yeah, she's number one, guys. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you did enjoy it, please leave a like down below, and until our next Season 13 upload, this has been X. Peace.